about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Preparing for a Senate showdown takes focus, intense research, and looking your best. Judge Neil Gorsuch has met with more than 70 senators, brushed up on his own past legal opinions, and practiced for an anticipated grilling from probing senators. All this for a potential lifelong seat on the highest court in the land.
Senator McConnell has promised to get this nomination done before the Easter recess.
Gorsuch will likely be confirmed, although it could be an unprecedented journey to the bench. Judge Gorsuch faces 3 to 4 days of hearings in the Judiciary Committee before moving to the full Senate, where Republicans will need to find at least 8 Democrats to allow the nomination to go forward for a final vote, or they may have to consider the nuclear option. That last resort would mean changing Senate rules to make any filibuster of Gorsuch impossible. Then, only 51 votes would be needed for confirmation. While rule changes can be approved with a simple majority vote, many senators don't like the idea because both sides understand the importance of the filibuster to the minority party.
I think the nuclear option is the wrong thing to use.
In 2013, then Senate Democratic leader Harry Reid went nuclear to prevent filibusters on cabinet nominees and lower court judges.
I think Harry Reid made a horrible mistake.
A move opposed by many Democratic senators like Joe Manchin and current leader Charles Schumer.
This is the most unique body in the world, the United States Senate. It's the most deliberative body because basically the minority has a strong position. It's not, in a simple majority, 51, that means the minority is discounted completely. Well, guess what? The Republicans were in a minority before, they're in a majority today. The Democrats have been in a majority, they're in a minority. That changes. So anybody that really respects this institution and understands the institution and the purpose of it, this is the cooling part. This is basically the deliberative part of governing, which makes us unique.
Republicans will pursue Manchin and 9 other senators like him because they face re-election in states won by President Trump. CBN News chief political correspondent David Brody believes Democrats will avoid a filibuster this time and look ahead to the next fight.
I don't expect Democrats to filibuster this nomination. It would be surprising to me, and here's why. I believe they'll save their powder, their ammunition, if you will, for the big fight coming next, which will be over Anthony Kennedy or whoever retires next. Most likely it'll be Anthony Kennedy, and I think that's where they'll put up the big fight because that would be, in essence, the big swing vote on the court.
Many evangelical leaders are excited that President Trump followed through on a pledge to appoint a pro-life justice.
They see this as President Trump fulfilling a campaign promise that he made, and that was something that really unified a lot of evangelicals that may have had some concerns about Trump, the candidate. Neil Gorsuch is going to fill the shoes of Justice Antonin Scalia, and there is no better judge in this country that I can see that would do a better job of fulfilling that legacy.
The American Bar Association unanimously gave Gorsuch its highest possible rating. We'll soon see if the Senate agrees. Reporting from Capitol Hill, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
You know, it'd be impossible to find a judge more eminently qualified than Gorsuch. He has a distinguished career on the bench. He was unanimously approved for a federal appeals court. He has sterling academic credentials. You know, where would you find a reason to oppose him? Well, our CBN White House correspondent Jennifer Wishon is with us now from the White House. Jennifer, do you agree with your associate that they won't filibuster this one? What do you think?
I do, Pat. You know, a senior White House official tells us that they are preparing for a smooth sail this week. You know, even Republicans who don't always see eye to eye with President Trump have nothing but praise for Neil Gorsuch. I completely agree with David Brody and with Abigail. I think that you know, Democrats who are facing re-election in states that voted for Trump, they are going to get in line, I think, on this nomination. And also, as David pointed out, you know, elevating Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court really doesn't change anything, the balance of the court. It kind of restores it to where it was when Justice Scalia was on the court. So I think Democrats are going to save their filibuster fight for perhaps the next nominee that President Trump makes.
Let me ask you about this. I understand that FBI Director Comey is coming up. to talk about wiretaps. What do you know about that?
Yeah, so it's really two big stories on Capitol Hill today. What I can tell you is in the past 24 hours, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Devin Nunes, has said that he sees no evidence that President Trump or the Trump campaign colluded with Russia to rig the election. So that's one of the things that this hearing is going to look at. Of course, the other big story that members on the committee can't wait to talk to Director Comey about is President Trump's claim that he was wiretapped by President Obama. So the Department of Justice handed over that evidence to them last week, but it doesn't look like there's any necessarily smoking gun. I think what the committee is going to really look at is whether or not people were swept up kind of in, unintentionally in surveillance activity, like we saw the former national security advisor who was surveilled when he talked to the Russian ambassador. So they're looking at perhaps if that happened and whether or not that information was handled correctly. Another thing I can tell you is that the chairman, Congressman Nunes, says that it's clear to him that that there are people within the intelligence community who are leaking information in order to hurt this administration. So that's going to be another focus. Of course, the Trump administration is very concerned about that.
Jennifer, we appreciate your coverage. Thank you so much for the work you're doing.
Thank you.